In its quest to provide an open forum for discussion of controversial issues, this station allows hosts and their guests to express themselves without any significant censorship. You are advised that any view expressed by the host or their guest are not necessarily the views of the owners or management of TogiNet Radio, Togi Entertainment, or the Owners Group, Inc.
It's time for Motherhood Talk Radio, the most powerful voice in women's issues today, with Sandra Beck and Christy Holly. Ladies, Motherhood Talk Radio is here to give you a powerful platform by giving you interesting, inspiring, and influential information as you navigate everything from childcare to corporate formation. Motherhood Talk Radio has interviews with best-selling authors, gurus of happiness, and women of interest who every single day make our world a better place for our families. Motherhood Talk Radio, powered by Motherhood Incorporated, is on the air now. Moms, this really is your show. Motherhood Talk Radio. And now, here are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Christy Holly.
Hey, mamas, this is Sandra Beck, and I am here with Christy Holly and Rick Swanson on this very happy post-Mother's Day. I have to warn you, I'm having a hard time concentrating because I got a new pair of shoes.
And they're super cute. So,
aren't they?
Yes, they
Made
are.
by guests. They're platform. They're super high. I think I could kill a man with this spike heel.
You could, or you could...
Another reason for me to like you. Wow, as if I needed another reason.
Poor Rick. Rick's had a tough day. He's had to work with me, and I've been just erratic for the past 10 days.
How come?
I don't know. I think
the shoes.
The shoes.
It's always the shoes.
I was, Mother's Day was, I got to be honest, was a little bit hard for me, because of my mom being sick, and then, historically, the kids, not really doing anything because they're too little, then I feel bad, and then, so I had like this roller coaster ride right before Mother's Day. Poor Rick got the brunt of it. I'm like, hold on. Just hang in there with me at like 4:30 in the morning, but he talked me off the wall, and that was a good thing.
Well, why don't you tell us about the gift that you got for Mother's Day from your mom and dad? Or from your mom?
From my mom. Okay, well, my dad was the one who mailed it, and it came, like this little box came, and then I opened it up, and it was like this beat-up old dirty box, and then I opened it up, and there was like a little piece of jewelry in there. It was all tarnished. I was like, oh, I'm so profoundly disappointed. But then I got it out, and I thought, okay, I'm not getting something old. I mean, I'm getting something old, but it was beautiful. It was my mom's cross for when she was 17 that her mom got her, and it's solid silver, which thrills me to no end. It has her initials on it, so I've been wearing that instead of my usual gold cross to the
one you keep losing.
The one I keep losing.
Right. Like it means more to me than anything in the world. Crap, I just lost
it. I know, where is it?
And then the next day, damn it, I lost it again. I was like, wow, you really love that cross.
Yeah, but you got to admit, the last time it fell in my bra, that was really funny. I was like, Rick, I can't believe I did it again, and I looked down, I'm like, oh, it is.
It's like Christmas over here. Surprised himself.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh, well, but so Mother's Day turned out to be fantastic because I got up in the morning, got dressed. I wasn't intending to go to church because I was going to the night church, but I wasn't intending to go to church. But that hour and a half of free childcare really called to me, and I was ready to kill them by like 9 o'clock in the morning because they were up at 6, and they were just awful. And so we went to church, and then we came home, and I made lunch, and they were fighting, and I was like, Happy Mother's Day to me! I was so mad. It was like, could you guys possibly just keep it together for an hour and a half on Mother's Day and give me some peace? But they couldn't. So we had like the Mother's Day timeout. We had the Mother's Day, you go in one room, I'll go in the other. You get in there and stop talking to me. If it doesn't say Happy Mother's Day, it's not coming out of your mouth. Oh, I was so frustrated. And, it was truly Mother's Day in all its glory. And then at 4 o'clock, by the grace of the Iranian people, Mitra and Martin took my kids. So I could go out to dinner with Rick's mom and grandma and go to his concert and watch him play, of which he was fabulous.
Where'd you guys go out to eat, by the way?
We went to Islands.
Oh, very nice.
Because they gave us dessert French fries.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was like, for Mother's Day. Because, well, there was, the Swansons were there, so there was like 450 people at the table. they turned around and gave us at the end, because they goofed up Rick's dad's order. Of course, I paying the bill. There's like 9 people at the table. Everybody's ordering with pickles, without pickles. I want half salad. I'd like a half Cobb, and we will be splitting ours. Couldn't be any more complicated. He just orders like the Maui burger. Very simple. And they come, they give him the food, and we're like, what is this alien hamburger no one ordered? Of course, it's the dad's. And but the guy felt so bad that he's like, well, I'll bring you guys out 3 free baskets of French fries as my way of apologizing for the mix-up. Well, we were waiting and waiting, so they became dessert fries.
Oh, I was thinking, what, they have something new on the menu?
Dessert fries.
Dessert fries? Like, what did they put on it?
But it lasted all of like 30 seconds on the table. I think me and Rick's sister Catherine and his mom polished off a basket by ourselves.
I'm not shocked, but
Happy Mother's Day. But then we got to go watch Rick play, and it was really fun. And he sang this great song that it was so funny because I
wasn't singing.
You sang a little bit.
What, at night?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't on a microphone. I was just singing along.
You were lip syncing? Okay,
no, I was singing, but I was. Did you think I actually was singing with the group?
Well, I don't know. You were up on stage. Your lips were moving, so.
But there was no microphone, no wireless.
Well, I didn't. It's not like I study you on stage. I mean, I did get a kick out of you up there with your like little tattoo peeking out every now and then.
You notice the tattoo peeking out, but you don't notice the lack of microphone in my face. Okay.
I didn't. Honest to God, I've seen you.
I should have said I was singing.
If you're up there, you should be singing.
Is that the rule?
Right?
I think so.
I think so.
I was playing
There's
keys.
a microphone anywhere near you.
Well, maybe you were wearing one of those cool like wires that go like around.
But you can
your
see those. You can see.
Were you moving your lips?
No, I was literally singing like on the top of my lungs at some point. But it's a really big church, and the drummer is extremely loud, so you couldn't hear anything through it. So.
Well, all I can say is the song that I liked the most was it just kept going on and on. It was like, I love this song. It goes on.
Come back next week. It's still going on.
It's probably still going on. It was going on in my head this morning.
Yeah.
But it was really fun because normally, Mother's Day historically have not been the most fun in my house. And instead it was super fun. I got to yell at my kids. I got to deliver them to somewhere else. I got a free meal. And I got to go and listen to Rick sing. So I was like, all is right in the world.
All is right in the world.
How was yours?
It was good. It was good. We went, what did I do? My kids woke up extra early. Of course they did. My husband came home from work in the morning and brought flowers and got cards for all, the kids to sign and stuff.
Aww.
So they were all like out there, like, don't come out here.
And we're getting it ready at the last minute.
Yes, that's what we do. We're all last minute, every single one of us. What did they make me from school? Parker made me a little book.
Oh.
It's like, I love my mom because she takes me to school. I love her because she's silly. All these
silly.
Fun things. And Hannah wrote me a little poem. And Nick, at their school, they made like a jar of cookies mix.
Oh, okay. Good.
I know.
Clearly they are not listening to the Fit to Strip challenge.
Clearly, neither am I. And then my husband made me breakfast, and then I had to make stuff for our barbecue that we had later on in the afternoon. So, of course, I was just doing my own, cleaning up and just cooking a little bit. But it didn't feel like, I need to put my feet up or anything.
Right. Oh, for heaven forbid.
I know. What would that be like? So we went over to my grandma's, hung out over there, had dinner. My whole family came over.
Aww.
And then one of my very best friends was induced and going to have a baby.
Oh,
so my plans were to go over there, but
the baby got in the way.
The baby got in the way. No, I went the next day, and because she was still like
in labor, or
So I ended up being in a delivery room. I know. It was crazy.
Did you look?
Yes.
Ew. Oh, my God. I want to see you like that.
I was like, well, you won't. I was right there in the middle of the action. Her husband, Dan, he gets like really like sick, like hospitals, anything, blood. Like he could hardly even be in the room with her.
So you were there to support her.
Yeah. But I ended up being, because her family's all like really little and like just tiny, and her mom's older.
So you were like the Godzilla of birth coaches.
I was. I'm like I have her leg, and I'm like, come on! I was counting. I was like the labor person in there.
Like a midwife.
You were the
nurse.
Godzilla of birth coaches.
It was crazy, and my arms are sore because I got this big giant workout. But it was amazing. And then the baby came out, like, she was having a hard time getting it out, and they had to use a little suction.
Right, to suck its head out.
Yeah, and then the cord was wrapped around the baby's neck.
You did that.
I'm like, oh, it was, like, crazy, and I was thinking, like, okay, I'm going to be sick. Like, I started feeling, like, queasy because I'm like, is
oh, yeah. Was it
something
dead?
Yeah, I mean, that's what you think. And then doctor's, like, trying to move the baby and turning its head, and it looks like
it's amazing how they whip that sucker around, too.
Well,
it's not
like,
even gentle.
I know, and it looked like he was, like, cracking his neck, breaking his
that
neck.
head's going to come off, doctor.
And I was just like, the baby team was right behind me, so I couldn't get out. I had her leg. The doctor has all his, like, table of tools and
torture devices.
There, and I was totally trapped in there, and I had to like duck so they could give the hand off the baby behind me. I mean, it was directly like right behind me. I know.
Very stressful.
It was but it was amazing. I'm so thankful that I got to be in there to witness that. It was amazing, and I just want to say Happy Mother's Day to my friend Patty.
Yes, Happy Mother's Day,
Patty. Yes.
And what's the baby's name?
His name is Lucas Daniel.
Oh, that's like a nice name.
I know.
That's a good name.
So, anyway, so it was a good Mother's Day weekend.
That is a great Mother's Day weekend. I mean, it celebrates, it's like perfect. It like celebrates what we're celebrating, which is Mother's Day, and she had a little baby boy, so congratulations, Patty. We have a wonderful guest today coming up. We have Trish Rubin, and she is the owner of her own company. She's enthusiastic, she's inspirational, she's a lot of fun, and when we get back from break, we're not going to let Rick go just yet. We're going to have Rick talk to us about his Mother's Day card mishap.
Oh.
Because I just think it's very funny. But my name is Sandra Beck. I'm the host of Motherhood Talk Radio along with Christy Holly and Rick Swanson. And for those of you that are just tuning in, you can pick up our shows at motherhoodtalkradio.com. You can pick us up on toginet.com. You can also pick us up on iTunes if you type in Motherhood Talk Radio. Shameless plug for my other show, Military Mom Talk Radio. So if you're in the military, you can listen to that one. When we come back from the break, it's more about Rick's Mother's Day mishap.
Mom, here's your show, Motherhood Talk Radio, giving you interesting, inspiring, and influential information as you navigate everything from childcare to corporate formation. This is Motherhood Talk Radio, and we'll be right back after these.
The American Rock and Roll Countdown with Alex Price.
Now, this Saturday morning, we're going to count them down one more time from number 40 all the way to number 1 with the official Classic Hits Countdown, the American Rock and Roll Countdown. We'll count down the biggest hits of the 70s with interviews and artist information, news, weather, sports, you name it, we'll have it this Saturday morning, 9 o'clock Eastern, right here on TogiNet for the American Rock and Roll Countdown.
The American Rock and Roll Countdown on TogiNet.
Innovation and insight, problems and solutions, capitalizing on your ideas and efforts. That's all a part of Changing the World One Invention at a Time with Rick Rowe. Thursday evenings at 6, 5 Central on TogiNet.com. Rick will be sharing stories of innovation, invention, inspiration, and overcoming obstacles with guests who have been there, done that, and are doing that. Rick will be asking the right questions, helping you identify the real problems, and showing you how to act on your ideas by increasing consumer confidence and, more importantly, increasing your confidence to act on your ideas. For even more information, go to ThinkTech, that's TEK, globally.com. Then join us as Rick and his guests teach us how to develop new ideas and create new products, new businesses, new jobs. And together, let's get our economy growing again. It's Changing the World One Invention at a Time with author and inventor Rick Rowe. Thursday evenings at 6, 5 Central on TogiNet.com. Welcome back to Motherhood Talk Radio, the most powerful voice in women's issues. For more information, check out the website, motherhoodtalkradio.com. Now, Let's get back to the show with your hosts, Sandra Beck and Christy Holly.
Hey, mamas, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Christy Holly and Rick Swanson, and this is our post-Mother's Day show. For those of you that missed the first segment, it was kind of a gruesome, wonderful, horrifying, yet bizarre story by Christy Holly and her friend Patty, who had a little boy. But before we bring on our guest today, who is ultimately fabulous in her own way, we're going to talk to Rick Swanson and his Mother's Day mishap.
So you did notice what happened with the card then, even if I hadn't noticed.
Well, when it's like, all crinkly on the bottom and the
discolored
and envelope discolored and scrunched up, I'm like, nothing says Happy Mother's Day like, ew.
Well, it happened to my mom's and my grandma's too, so it was fair across the board.
What did you do,
Bob? Well, what happened was I got the flowers, and then the guy at the market put the cards and the flowers together. So I was driving around with them. By the time I got them home, I was all happy. I was like, oh, okay, cool, these are nice cards. And crap, they were all soaking wet. But my roommate's like, well, you can just blow dry them. So I was like, okay. So I sat there for like 20 minutes, like not trying to like burn the cards up or really mess them up, trying to blow dry them. I mean, I'm not going to go buy new cards.
Put them in the oven.
I love everybody, but not that much. So, yeah, I blew dried them and then continued to give them to the respective owners.
So you went ahead with the whole flower thing?
The flowers, yeah, I gave it.
You were talking about that last week, and you didn't sound like you were too keen on the whole flower thing.
Well, I don't even remember what kind of flowers I bought. My mom knew what they were. She's like, thank you for such and such a kind. I'm like, oh, I'm just glad she liked them. I didn't even know what they were. But they were pink, so.
Yes, they were beautiful. They were beautiful. But, the funny thing is, like, I put the card by my nightstand, and I was, like, looking at it going, oh, this is so pretty. And then I started to giggle because, like, the bottom is all, like, discolored because the envelope leaked, like, dye all over the bottom of it. And I was like, you know what? This is truly a card from Rick.
Exactly.
Has your signature move on it. All right. Well, listen, Mr. Rick, we will let you go after that whole baby introduction, but we will have you back at a later date to talk about the births you've seen, because I think you've seen a few, more than I have.
I've actually, whoa. I have not actually seen any. If I said that, my mom would kill me, but I haven't. Put your mind
okay.
on that.
Why would your mom kill you?
Well, she was having them.
Right.
Oh,
because we talked about the bowl before.
Yeah, no.
Don't even go there. I will be executed.
You'll be executed at dawn. All right, we are going to welcome our guest, Trish Rubin. She is so much fun. She's a business development consultant. She's a speaker. She's a writer. She has more than 25 years' experience as a communications professional and trainer, and she likes shoes. So she's the perfect guest to have on today. Welcome, Trish.
Thank you. So good to talk to you, Sandra.
Yeah. And Christy, too. Christy's here.
Hello.
We're just admiring these shoes, but we will go on to a different topic. And you know what I'd like to do, because it's always best when I think guests introduce themselves, because you have so much, you do so much, and you know so much, and you know so many people. It's really, really cool. Can you give us a little background of your story?
My background is in communication, and I want to say, first of all, that I am a mommy, and I've been listening to your mommy stories, and being a mother really influenced me in so many ways, and I always worked. I never really took maternity leave, but I want to tell all of you that I had the most brilliant Mother's Day. My kids are now 24, 23, and 21, and they took me out on Sunday, and it was wonderful. And so they really, my kids really helped me to develop into who I am today. And I'll say that one of the things that I saw from my daughter was a card that said, "I'm blessed to have you as my mom. Thank you for always loving and believing in me."
Oh.
And so part of what I'm about is about believing in people, and that's what I do in New York City. I believe in people. I work with clients who need people to believe in their brand, and part of what I do is really give them the magic that they need to be able to tell their story, to sell a product, to create an experience. And it's all done with that very, very delightful piece that I have been given by the universe or God, which allows me to be very relational with people and be very there with people and make things happen for them. When I believe in somebody, I'm there for them 24/7. And so my history is in education, where I had to believe in kids on days of my life when I didn't even want to know them. Very difficult to be in a room with middle schoolers, 5 classes of middle schoolers, continually seeing 14-year-olds. And out of that experience, I really developed a love of their need to communicate, and I was able to develop that as an educational career. And I worked with USA Today and the federal government and helped to educate teachers so that they could give kids voices in writing. And after that, I sort of am a person that keeps reinventing and saying, you know, I've got a 7-year itch, and who else am I going to believe in? And now I have really been very lucky in a big city like New York, where we got hit with a meltdown a couple of years ago, and people were losing jobs all around me. I've been able to take that belief and just build a great business of promotion, business development, communications, PR, eventing, anything that gets people in front of the people that they need to be with. And I just have so much fun with it. So
well, now,
that's
Trish, you know, you do all these amazing things. So someone would think that you came, like you're a seasoned New Yorker, you have all these contacts in place because your mom was this, your dad was that, or your brother was famous. But you moved to New York City and you only knew one person,
yes,
your doorman, and now you have this like amazing 4-star network. How did you do that?
This is what I really like to talk to people about, and I'm so grateful that you, Sandra, and Christy have given me this opportunity because I didn't step out and raise my children on my own. It was a decision that I made, and I've been a veteran of those mommy wars in the 90s and the 80s where, you know, should you stay home, should you go out? What I wound up doing is something that I think anybody can do as a mother, that I wound up learning, as I said earlier, to be very aware of who I was and who was around me at any given moment. And this is a challenge right now because people are walking around with iPods in their ears and looking at BlackBerries and in cars with media. But I really caution the people that I work with when I speak, when I work with clients, that you really have got to give yourself time to really be present and be connected to people, because you never, ever know where your connections are coming from. And you have to be so present in your mind to be able to respond. So when I came to New York, and it's true, Sandra, I knew no one here 7 years ago. Even though my family was from the city, I'd been out of New York a long time. The only person I knew was my doorman. But I understood that in a city of 8.5 million people, I was very lucky to have a doorman, because a doorman is connection. They know the people in the 500 apartments, that I live in. They know them all. They know their lives. It's almost scary how much they know about us.
Well, yeah, so great you say that, because you think about it. They're just standing there all day long, opening the door, helping people with things. They chit-chat. I never thought that your doorman would be like the greatest resource.
They are the greatest. That's why you have to tip them every Christmas, and you have to give them a lot of money.
Yeah, but it's worth it. It's worth it.
It is worth it. And so what I did was, with the doorman that I knew, actually it's plural, there's more than one doorman, I used the doorman and just said, I'm new, I need help. Well, they were more than happy to help me in any way. Where do I need to go? who do I need to connect with, anything from getting my nails done to, where's the government office, where shall I, they knew everything. And out of that connection, I began to grow a network. And I actually laughed because I wound up speaking at the United Nations out of a connection that I got through my doorman to a bank that wound up putting me up to speak at the UN. So
I just have to pause you there. That is so cool. That is so cool. You don't know anybody. You get here, you make friends with somebody who most people would ignore, and then you end up speaking for the UN, which to me just shows, when you talk about that being aware of who you're talking to and disconnecting from your devices, your next helping hand or your big boost up could be just right around the corner, and you'd miss it because you're plugged into your iPod.
The mom, it could be anyone. It could be the person sitting next to you in a park. It could be someone that you work on a PTO or PTA committee with. It could be the teacher of your children. You just never know, and that's my motto. One of my mottos. I have a motto that says I can do anything for an hour. That's on a pillow that I have. But that is, you just never know. And we do ourselves a great disservice when we disconnect from the people who are around us.
I think so. Well, and I remember, when you said that, disconnect and be in the moment, and when you brought up the BlackBerry part, all I could think about is when I used to commute from my ranch to Beverly Hills, it was like an hour-and-a-half drive sometimes 2 hours, and I would get my call list together, and I would start going through, returning all my calls, on this hour-and-a-half freeway drive, and my little son, Max, was like 3 years old in the back seat, and he would tell me, I hate that black thing. I hate that black thing. I had no idea what he was talking about, and it was like, he was my carpool ride buddy.
Yes, you were using him.
I was using him, bringing him with me. But he said finally when he was old enough to articulate, he goes, Mom, I hate your phone.
Yeah.
And I've never, gotten over that, because it's true. It's like, I would plug him in his car seat, put Thomas on the overhead player, and just do my thing. And you completely leave the moment, completely disconnect. And not that, as a working mom, you can do that all the time, but it was a really strong lesson of here's a little kid, 2.5, 3 years old. He gets that I'm disconnected. Yeah. I didn't,
It's true. No, being present is the key for developing yourself in every way.
Well, and how is this just a natural thing for you to do? How do you get started in developing?
You know what I tell people when
Folks, you know what? We got to go to break. We'll be back. We're going to go back after with Trish Rubin and the EdVentures group when we come back from the break.
Mom, here's your show, Motherhood Talk Radio, giving you interesting, inspiring, and influential information as you navigate everything from childcare to corporate formation. This is Motherhood Talk Radio, and we'll be right back after these. Is there more living for you to do? Yes. Start living inspired. Be here for Living Inspired with Tricia Goyer, Thursday afternoons at 4, 3 p.m. Central on TogiNet.com. Tricia will dig deep into topics that matter most to women, inspiring women to make a change in their own lives and to make a difference in the world, and maybe even deep within their own hearts. Tricia is a wife, mom, speaker, family expert, and author of 24 books. For more information on Tricia and Living Inspired, go to her website, TriciaGoyer.com. That's TriciaGoyer.com. Tricia's vision is to be the voice of hope and possibility for women of all ages. Her intention is to serve ordinary women by encouraging extraordinary things with God's help. Tricia expresses real life, real hope for real women. Is there more living for you to do? Yes. Start living inspired. Living Inspired with Tricia Goyer. Thursday afternoons at 4, 3 p.m. Central on TogiNet.com.
The American Rock and Roll Countdown with Alex Price.
So where were you in the 1970s? Well, this Saturday morning, we're going to flash back to the 70s as we count down the classic hits with the American Rock and Roll Countdown. You'll hear news and information and stories about the artist and what was going on during the specific week that we highlight. So be sure to join us at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time this Saturday on TogiNet for the American Rock and Roll Countdown.
The American Rock and Roll Countdown on TogiNet.
Welcome back to Motherhood Talk Radio, the most powerful voice in women's issues. For more information, check out the website, motherhoodtalkradio.com. Now, let's get back to the show with your hosts, Sandra Beck and Christy Holly.
Hey, mamas, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Christy Holly. We've given Rick Swanson the rest of the show off. I think we wore him out with all that baby talk. What do you think, Christy?
Apparently so.
I know. It's like, gee, I think he'd be as excited about my shoes as I am.
I know.
Yeah, they are cute, aren't they?
And hear about a live birth? God.
Yeah, I mean, what man wouldn't want to hear that?
I know. Hello.
Oh.
Stilettos do lead to babies.
Stilettos do, yeah.
Stilettos equals babies.
Yes. Oh, that is very funny. Well, we have a great guest today, Christy. We have Trish Rubin.
Yes.
You guys can check her out at TrishRubin.com. You can also find her at Trish NYC, like New York City. She is an amazing, amazing woman. She's brought so much joy into my life in such a short period of time. It was one of those instant connections on the phone that I just liked her immediately. And before we get into asking her about her experiencing balancing kids, homes, and career and her tips for us, which we can all use.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. I want to know, Trish, how do you go about developing people for a living? I mean, how do you get to that point? Do you just walk out one day and go, this is who I am now? Put it up on a card and off you go.
I think one thing you have to do, and it's what mothers are all about, and we don't know it, is that you have to have no fear. And I think once I heard the discussion about having a baby, once you've been through that experience of giving birth and knowing not what the hell is, I probably shouldn't say that, is going on, but you live through that experience of birthing life, I don't think you can be afraid of anything else after that. And then you see the reward at the end of it. So you have to have a lot of fearlessness. And again, I go back to this piece about being aware of what it is that you have that is a passion for you. What are you about that you don't want to be at the end of your life saying, I wish I had? And once you take that understanding that you have every right to be fearless and that you are who you are and you where you are because you have a skill set that's gotten you here, and you link that to a passion, you're going to make your way. And for me, when I took stock of myself 7 years ago, after going through a personal change in my own life experience and saying, all right, I'm here because I've got a good communication set, that I'm very, very comfortable and confident, that I am curious and that I know how to put things together for people, I understood that I had something that was basically a business development skill, but I could come at it in a different way. And then that's the other piece. So if you know that there are thousands of other people who are out there wanting to do the same thing that you do, what do you do that distinguishes you from those people? When I get up in rooms in New York, I always say, we are in a room of 8.5 million. In New York, that's how many there are. Who are you and what do you have that's different from the other 8.5 million?
And 8.4 walk right out the door. I don't know.
You've got it. You've got it. You've got to believe and mind and say, what is it? What is it that I have? And then, you develop that kind of plan around it of how am I going to get out there. A lot of it is meeting people, getting out, being fearless in that way, which women can do. We're great at chatting up people. Men don't have any clue when it comes to this. The work that I've done with men, they think that, you get business by going out to play golf or picking up the phone with your uncle and telling him to get you connected. Women know this from the inside out. We are absolutely more communicational. We're nurturing. We help each other for the most part. So you look at that skill set and you just and believe in it. It does go to a passion, because when things get really tough, how are you going to get up that day and do what you have to do to live your passion? Especially if you've got a kid on your hip and you got one holding your hand, you still have that passion. Don't let that go, and figure out how you can do it. And the way the world works now with a lot of digital help, you can find time for yourself to grow that passion. And then if you have to wait till they get old enough where they can, blow their own noses or do what they have to do, then you're ready. You're ready. But the whole time, I tell women, grow your network. Keep growing your network. Even if you've got small children, figure out ways that you can develop a network, because that will be your base to move from when it comes time to develop yourself further, get the job you really want to have, or be entrepreneurial.
Now, what about, and Christy, I hate to do this to you, but what about, like in Christy's case, we talk a lot about, like what you're going to do when your kids get a little bit older and you're not so tied to the household. Do you want to ask Trish any questions about trying to discover what it is you want to do, or what? I know, she just gave me the biggest stink eye. Let me put you on the air. Let me put you on the spot on the air.
Thank you for that little warning. Well, it's hard to realize what my passion is these days, because I've lost, I've been so wrapped up in raising my family and, doing what my kids want to do that I've kind of lost focus on myself. Mm-hmm. So there's lots of little things that I like to do that I'm interested in, but I don't know, how do you know, like, if you're going to be good at, I feel like I'm not good at anything, like one specific thing anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, how do you figure out, what you really like and how to actually go about making a business around that?
It's a great question, and you can't do it on your own. So I always say, you gather up your board of advisors, and what is it? A company begins with an idea, with a business plan, and then there's generally a board of advisors. There's some kind of group that helps to guide that company. So can you get a board of advisors in front of you? Sure. They're your girlfriends. They're the people you trust. And you get them together and buy them a drink or get them together for coffee, and you say, hey, help me to think this through. This is what I think I would like to do, or I don't know what I can do. Can somebody help me look in the mirror? Because a lot of times we don't even recognize what we're good at. And with the help of some very trusted people, and that's what people pay thousands of dollars to coaches to help them think through. You get that from your own group of trusted friends. Your family, I wouldn't really include them in that because your family says they're going to go, stop doing that. That's not what you're supposed to be about, or they're going to say everything you do is wonderful. So you really need to find people who can hold up a little bit of a mirror to you and help you and you'll feel so good about it. They will tell you things about yourself that will help you to really move forward. You need a board of advisors, and that basically is, your close circle of friends.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, I think so.
That is great advice.
Because it's like I look at you, you do so many wonderful things. To me, you have so many great gifts. But I understand that feeling of getting so lost within your family, because it's like everything for your kids, everything for your husband, everything for your household. And by the time you get to think about what you need or who you are, you fall asleep. I know.
Yeah, the list. We're at the end of the list. That's generally where we put ourselves. And I would say to any mother, what helped me is I decided I was going to write. And I carved out some time in a very full, busy, hectic, frenetic schedule. And I said I'm going to write. And if it were a half hour a day, that was for me. And if I had to do it when every little head was down on the pillow, then I did it. But I disciplined myself to write. That was my me time. Go to the gym, go for a walk, my me time. So I remember so well the feeling of getting a child to sleep and jumping up and down and being so excited at that accomplishment. And I say to people when I work with them, if you can get a difficult child down to sleep, what does that show about you? What does that show about your skill set? Those are the things that really people pay people in business to do, to get the job done. And mothers do that every time they get a kid to rest.
Well, and you think about all the skill sets, that people look for. It's like, oh, you need someone who can multitask. It's like, okay, I watched Christy cook dinner, peel Parker off the wall, stop Nick from doing whatever he's doing, help Hannah with her homework. I mean, it's a zoo over at your house, and somehow, it's a zoo at everybody's house when you have little kids. But, you think of multitasking, you think of communication, all these skills that we go to college for to learn are also learned raising kids. Don't you agree, Trish?
Yeah, I believe that's absolutely important, is that you recognize that those things that make you successful, even when we don't feel we're successful as mothers, we feel like we're at the end of the rope. Believe me, I mean, I can remember myself sitting in a playpen with my children at 2 in the morning and going, I'm in the playpen with them. And once or twice, or maybe more than that, I had a glass of wine in my hand and said, okay, if you guys want to be up at 2 in the morning, you have your party, I'll have mine. Nice.
Oh, Trish, we are separated at birth, because just recently my 7-year-old son walked in and he says, Mom, what's a bottle of wine doing by your TV in your bedroom? I'm like, oh, it's a decorator touch, honey.
I'm telling you, my daughter did a spelling list when she was in 2nd grade, and the teacher called me laughing because she was a friend of mine, and she said, our word was probably first day. Our word today, one of our words on the spelling list was drink, and your daughter wrote, my mom likes to drink wine every day. That was her. And you know what? That helped me. So what I really feel like is for the kids, we all do the craziest things. What I tell moms who I see going through this is, okay, this too shall pass. My kids are older, they've lived through it. They lived through everything that I gave them. And as long as you're aware of your kids as well, like the piece with the BlackBerry, they're telling you something. My 6-year-old, who's now 21, told me at one point when she was 6, people in school think that Dina is my mother. Now, Dina was the sitter.
Oh. Listen, you know what, I'm going to have to cut you off because we want to talk about this when we come back to the break, because anybody who's had to rely on a caregiver for whatever reason knows that feeling. My name is Sandra Beck. I am the host of Motherhood Talk Radio along with Christy Holly and Rick Swanson. For those of you just joining us, you can pick up the earlier segments on the show on toginet.com. You can also see them on iTunes, and you can check out Motherhood Talk Radio for not only this show but past shows. We've been on the show for, I think, over a year now.
Yes, ma'am.
I know we have to go out and celebrate.
I know.
It's a very good thing. It's a very good thing. And our guest today is Trish Rubin. You can check her out at the EdVentures group, EdVentures group.com. And she's also at Trish NYC. And we're going to talk about the broker babe when we come back, among other cool motherhood things.
Mom, here's your show, Motherhood Talk Radio, giving you interesting, inspiring, and influential information as you navigate everything from childcare to corporate formation. This is Motherhood Talk Radio, and we'll be right back after these. Thursday nights, get ready for the Read My Lips Tips for Success radio show with your host, Linnea Millette, at 11:10 Central on TogiNet.com. What are the Read My Lips Tips for Success? Well, it's spelled out like this. R, realize it is possible. E, embrace all relationships. A, advance through adversity. D, develop your significance. M, manage your health and wealth. Y, yield to your natural abilities. L, listen to your heart. I, invest in yourself. P, persist by taking small steps. And S, serve others. Each week on the show, you'll find a safe haven whereby tips, insights, and strategies are shared by Linnea and her guests. Go to Linnea's website, readmylipstips.com. Then join us Thursday nights at 10 p.m. Central for the Read My Lips Tips for Success radio show with your host, Linnea Millette, on TogiNet.com. Connect with Juliana and connect with what lies beneath. Friday afternoons at 3 Central on TogiNet.com. Juliana is a marriage, family, and child therapist who wants people to connect. Connect with what lies beneath, those truths and answers. And through her counseling practice, she has helped others find their personal power and fulfill their dreams. And she wants to do the same for you. Here on Connect with Juliana. Through intimate discussions, intriguing subject matters, and the expertise of her guests. For more on the show and Juliana, check out her webpage, connectwithjulianainmedia.com. Juliana will cover it all. Nothing is off limits. She wants to know what matters to you. Make the connection. Tune into TogiNet to connect with Juliana to find out the facts that could be hidden beneath the surface. Connect with Juliana on TogiNet to make a quality connection in your life. Friday afternoons at 4, 3 Central on TogiNet.com. Welcome back to Motherhood Talk Radio, the most powerful voice in women's issues. For more information, check out the website, motherhoodtalkradio.com. Now, let's get back to the show with your hosts, Sandra Back and Christy Holly.
Hey, mamas, you would not want to know the conversation that goes on over here during the break. God, it's like you guys are children.
Well,
Somebody's got a stiffy. You are the one that said, sorry. That was me, wasn't it? Rick said he was stiff. Sorry, I said he got a stiffy, and then it just went downhill from there. Oh, well, this is Sandra from Motherhood Talk Radio. I'm here with the quintessentially immature Rick Swanson and Christy Holly.
and Miss Sandra Back.
Yes.
Include yourself.
I will include myself in that, but we do have a lot of fun here, and I'm so glad that you're joining us on the radio show today. You can pick us up on iTunes. You can pick us up on TogiNet, and we have the most fun guest today. Don't you agree,
Yes,
Christy?
I do.
We're big Trish Rubin fans over here. Well, you make us laugh, and you're funny, and you're real, and we don't feel stupid listening to you, which happens a lot on the show.
Just Google me. I always tell people when they're looking for me, I go, just Google me and stand back. Because the channel, the YouTube stuff, if you haven't seen the Bathroom Boogie, that is, I can't believe, even my kids just die when they look at that. But yeah, I think that you have to just live, as I said, and your moms, just be fearless, be present, and just know you've got a skill set. And don't anybody tell you don't, because you wouldn't be alive if you didn't have your skill set. Your kids got you or thrown you to the wolves by this time.
That is so funny. So embrace yourselves, Mom, because you wouldn't be alive without
That's right. You definitely are the dominant one there. But I do remember, especially I had 3, and I was married for 9 years before I even had 1, and then I had 3. I went to my high school reunion, and 5. I was pregnant, didn't tell anybody. 5 years later, I went back and had 3 kids. So it was. I mean, I finally understood what I had to do. When I did it, I couldn't stop, I guess. So that's, 3 little kids. I had my own little nursery school and was working in full-time at a pretty high level. But my kids are all fine, and there's not an axe murderer among them, so it's all good.
So far, so good. So far, so good. So when we were getting ready to go to break, you said something that was near and dear to my heart, because I didn't have it so much with Anna, who's been with me for 8 years now, helping me with my kids, but I had it with the ex's girlfriend, where the other people thought that this woman was the kid's mother. They thought I was the nanny when I went to preschool, and I almost, first of all, I wanted to cry. Second, I wanted to punch this woman and then step on her with my shoes at the time, my stilettos. And no, I don't like her. I don't like any of them anymore after that. But it's a very painful thing, whether it comes from an outside source or from your kids, because you're trying to do it all, and then somebody says, gee, Mom, they don't think you're the mom, they think you're the nanny or the babysitter. Mm-hmm. And that's a tough one to swallow.
Right. It's hard. When I think back to that experience, I was in a job that I was traveling maybe an hour and a half to every day and back, and it was a long commitment with long days. And I was questioning it, and that's all it took for me, is to hear my daughter say that. And about 4 months after that, I actually took a cut in pay and just sort of regrouped myself, and I was much happier doing that. So sometimes you have to, in some way, you take a back step and think, oh, my gosh, I'm not who I was 6 months ago. I don't have a high position. I don't have people helping me. I'm in the trenches again. But you know what? It worked for me. That's all I can say. And I got back on the horse after the kids were older, and it worked for me. So sometimes you have to sacrifice that way. In terms of the recognizing in a difficult situation, that does happen. I mean, I've had that situation too, where you don't want to be confused. You are the mother of that child, and I think what you just need to do for me is you distinguish yourself by always believing in that kid. And that is what a mother does. It's not a girlfriend or a stepmother. That you, with the belief that you have in your children. And as I said, short of the murdering people, or if they make people bleed, then I can't, advocate for them. But and anyway, I just try to open up and wrap my arms around everything that child wants to do, and be there in some way to acknowledge it, even if I can't support it. To say, okay, but you go run with this, and if you fall, I'll be there. And the mother of that child does that better than anybody else does. And that's what my card is about. When I read that card to you, that's what that's about.
Right, that soft place to fall.
Yeah, always loving and believing.
Well, and I can tell you, Trish, from, developing what I developed over the last couple of years, having that soft place to fall, whether it's a mother, in my case, my mom is sick, and so, she's there for me in spirit, but having, I think back to the last couple of years of going, if I didn't be able to come and crash and burn at Christie's, go over there in the middle of the night, I can't do this anymore, or call up Rick in the middle of the night and go, I don't know what's going on, help. Without that, it's really hard to fly. I look at the stuff I tried to develop in the past couple of years versus what I've been able to develop with, my two partners in crime here. To have that soft place to fall, to know if you screw up that you can always come back and still be loved and still be accepted,
yes.
means that you can try something that you wouldn't normally try because you're like, oh, crap, I'm going to screw it up. And then you go, well, you know what? If I do screw it up, then I'll come back, and Rick and Christy and I'll have a good laugh and a glass of wine, and we'll just move on.
They're your board of advisors. So it's almost like you do that for your friends, but for your kids, you can be that. You can just be that board of advisor for a child, and I always feel like it's a good model for kids to even see that. And as they get older and they see that you're frustrated and you work through problems, that's a great thing to be able to show children. How do adults solve problems? We're not all happy all the time. How do we get through it? And that
we drink.
Yeah, well, we drink. And I went out with my kids, and I told you what happened. Mom drinks every day. But it's I think to show your kids a model of who that mother is and what they're about. My kids, I could say right now, are benefiting from my network and what I've built for them. And then I see myself in them. I see them, what I taught them, and it's so gratifying to see their fearlessness and to see them going after things. I know that's me. They didn't learn that in school. Nobody teaches the kids that in school, and I know because I oversaw big programs for kids, and no one was teaching kids this kind of skill set.
I agree completely. I think, one of the things that happened for me, my parents were big believers, both my mom and my dad were big believers in just go do your best, go try, just do your best, and that's enough, and, you'll never know what you can achieve. I mean, my dad was the king. He'd go to these sales events and come home with this, like PMA, sound positive mental attitude, and and I was a corporate shill by the time I was 7, but it makes a difference because it never occurred to me, until I had, some things happen to me in my life, it never occurred to me not to believe in myself. That was so programmed in me that goes, well, you just try. If you fail, you try something else. You just keep going. That's what you do. Nobody had ever put that in my consciousness that, I could fail or that it would be bad if I failed. It was always like, well, you'll just figure it out. You'll do something else. You'll keep going. And I really agree with you that a lot of the programs in our schools don't teach that, and they haven't taught that historically.
No, we just, and I appreciate, I'm an educator. Our curriculums are full. Where do we show children these skills that they'll need? Where, and if you're in a situation where you're either being taught to fear, which is absolutely possible, that sort of was my growing up experience. It was learned helplessness almost because you were taught to fear certain things. Breaking out of that is tough. So if you're not having the experience that you had, how do you break out? How do you, like you said to me, how do I come to New York in the middle of my life, knowing nobody, and use a doorman to help me move forward? That's because I understood that I had to open my mouth and ask for what I wanted. And women, too, we don't do enough of that. We do not ask. We don't know how. And we have to always learn how to do it and be better and better and better at it.
Well, and I think we're almost taught not to ask. I mean, I think it's a function of not only do we not ask for help or what we need, we don't ask, but it's kind of socially, especially as a mother, it's like, what? You have needs? You have to attend to your children.
It seems like and maybe not to everybody, but sometimes it seems like, well, I can't do the job if I have to ask for help, and, this is the job that I wanted. Like, for me, with my 3 kids, it's like I wanted kids. I wanted, lots and lots of kids. And to ask for help with 3 or 2 or, even the 1, I never wanted to ask anyone to help me because it's like, this is what I wanted. I can do this. This is my job.
Yeah.
But, I do need help sometimes, and I have a hard time asking, someone to watch my kids for me while I, got to do what I got to do, know?
Yeah, it is. But that's why heart disease is now, the number 1 killer of women is heart disease, because we've taken on all of this same behavior of stress that's killing us. Even more women are suffering than men. And we don't say a word because we're supposed to have it all together. So those are the things that when you learn how to do that, successful people in business, they delegate. That's what you got to do, and delegate time for you.
Right, and delegating in the business world is smart. Why can't we apply delegating in the family environment as something that's equally as smart? Because we can't do it all.
We can't do it all, and although it's like it seems selfish sometimes, and then now it's like you have to be selfish in order to take care of your family.
That's right.
But I don't know.
All right,
Mom,
listen,
Mom, that sort of funny saying, if Mom's not happy, nobody's happy. Well, that's really true. And if that can't be recognized, that if you are not only happy, but if you're not well, if you're not healthy, if you don't feel as powerful as you can be, no one's going to be happy. That's for sure.
You know what, Trish? It's been great having you on the show today. We're going to have you back because you've got a lot of great things to share with us.
You got to come to New York, girls.
Oh, we're coming!
Yes.
We're coming to New York and bring our shoes.
I've never been there.
Oh, we're going to come and stay with Trish Rubin. So check her out on the internet. She's on the EdVenturesGroup.com. You can just Google her name, Trish, Trish Rubin, Rubin. She is fantastic. She's been a super guest today. I want to thank you for being here with us. I know, it goes so fast. It goes so fast.
Thank you, ladies.
Okay, have a great week.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for being a part of Motherhood Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Christy Holly on TogiNet.com. Join us every Tuesday as we give